Alright, so now that we have made our e-binder and we turned in our first assignment, which was the syllabus, let's talk about the next thing, which is audience etiquette. Here's a couple of things to talk about. Is how would you expect an audience to act if you were at a movie theater? Well, if you're at a movie theater, then you're probably expecting everybody to be quiet and just watch the movie. You want everybody to kind of eat quietly if they are eating. I know the pet peeve of mine is when somebody's right next to me, like smacking on their popcorn or any other kind of like slurping their drink and everything like that. And so for me, at a movie theater, I expect an audience to just sit quietly and watch the movie. I also hate it when people are on their iPhone, like their phones when they're watching the movie, because the bright light is very, very distracting for me. At a football game, okay, an audience, you want them cheering, right? You want them up and going, yeah, go team, go team. So that's how I would expect an audience to act at a football game, or any kind of game in general. At a rock concert, it's kind of the same. You know, you're singing along, you're jamming, you're having a good time. At a tennis match, okay, if you have ever seen a tennis match or maybe even a golf match, you know that you're supposed to be pretty quiet when a tennis match is going on. Sometimes you'll hear people cheering and that's fine, but especially when they're serving, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, now we're all going. All right. So at a tennis match, there's cheering, but it's kind of contained. And at a golf match, you don't say nothing at all. Now, during a lecture, how do you expect an audience to act during a lecture? Well, kind of the same as a movie theater. You pay attention to the lecture, you sit quietly, and you don't talk during it. And the biggest thing we're going to talk about is how do you expect an audience to act during a speech, okay? Now, during a speech, it's the same as the lecture in a movie theater. You're sitting quietly, you're listening. There's not a lot of like going back and forth between you and the speaker unless the speaker legitimately asks you a personal question. Sometimes a speaker will ask a rhetorical question where you're not supposed to answer. I always try to teach y'all to stray away from rhetorical questions because people always want to answer. But during a speech, you're sitting quietly, and that's it. So let's talk a little bit more about what I expect as far as audience etiquette goes during my class. Number 1, pay attention. Don't be goofing off, alright? Don't be playing on your cell phone or anything like that. You shouldn't have it anyway, okay? Don't be drawing or scribbling something down or working on a different assignment, okay? Make sure you're actually paying attention to whoever it is that is speaking. Next, stay silent. Obviously, if the speaker tells a joke, laugh at the joke, because then it's real awkward if you don't laugh, right? And that speaker gets all, and their nerves just kind of go crazy if you don't actually laugh at a joke that they make. But overall, you want to stay silent. You don't want to have like mini conversations with yourself, or you don't want to react to something in a distracting way. So you just stay silent and you listen to them speak. You also want to keep your eyes on them, alright? So keep your eyes on the stage area. For my classroom, it's just the front of the classroom is the stage area, alright? Or maybe it's just up on screen as well. So just keep your eyes on them, alright? If you're having a hard time focusing or paying attention, at least just pretend, act a little bit and make it look like you're listening to them by keeping your eyes on them. The next thing is sit still. Don't be in your chair like rocking back and forth and going crazy because, once again, it is distracting. You applaud each speaker. This is very important in my class. We want to applaud each speaker. I might not applaud each speaker because I'm like in the middle of writing notes, but like I'll make a mental note to like look up and be like, that was really good, good job, fantastic, okay? So make sure you're applauding each speaker. Have everything off of your desk. The less stuff on your desk, the less distractions you have, and the less likely you are to like be doing something that's not going up against that first one of paying attention. And finally, phones are not allowed. In the past, this is what I've done if I've seen somebody on their phone while somebody's giving a speech. I give them an automatic 0. Okay? So please make sure that you are not having your phones out. If you have your phone out, number 1, you're going against my phone policy rule, which is putting it in the phone home. And number 2, you're being very disrespectful to that person and you're distracting to everybody else. Just like we talked about in the movie theater, you don't want to have that phone in front of you and somebody else looking on while they're trying to watch something else. Okay? And we're just not going to have them. And number 3, like, you're going against all of my rules, so just don't do it. So, what would you do during a speech if you had to go to the bathroom? Alright? If you have to go to the bathroom, once again, you do not ask me, you're going to be asking one of our classroom leaders, alright? So, if you have to go to the bathroom, that's fine. You can get up quietly, go to whatever classroom leader is in charge of the bathroom, and ask them to go to the bathroom. Here's the kicker though. When you come back from the bathroom, you better be looking through that nice little window to see if somebody is still speaking or if we're still watching somebody's video of them speaking. Okay, you don't want to come in and interrupt the class. It's always so awkward when I have a live speaker up and somebody comes in from the bathroom and they're just kind of like, and I know y'all have that feeling as well. So if you have to go to the bathroom, you can, just do not re-enter until you know that the speech is over. How do you know the speech is over? Well, guess what we do after every single speaker? We applaud. Okay? That'll be your indicator. Next, what do you do during a speech if you needed to ask me a question? Number 1, don't bother me when we're having speeches and somebody's giving a speech or we're watching somebody's speech. Chances are I'm like in the middle of writing notes and I'm having to pay attention in very great detail because I have to make sure that they've organized their speech correctly. I have to make sure that they're using all their nonverbals. So if you needed to ask me a question, please wait until after the speech is done. What do you do during a speech if you were late to class and needed to enter? Again, if you know we're giving speeches that day, look through that window and make sure that somebody's speech isn't playing. And you just wait until it's done, until you hear the applause, and then you can enter. Okay? If you didn't know that we were having a speech that day, look through the window anyway. Anytime you're entering my class, just make sure you're looking in through the window to make sure we're not doing anything crazy going on. What do you do during a speech if the Pope knocked on the door to give you $1 million? I will tell you what, if the Pope knocked on our door during somebody's speech, the Pope is staying outside in that hallway until that speech is done, and then we will open the door for the Pope. It's like that with every single person that comes in here. If Mr. Cobb came in here, one of the assistant principals came in here, they would have to wait at the door, and normally I put up a nice little sign saying that speeches are in progress. They're going to be waiting. They're going to have to wait. Alright? So, that is all that I have for you as far as audience etiquette goes. Please make sure we're being respectful. Please make sure we're being good audience members. Thanks.